Hi guys, this is a Wednesday video, and as we've discussed, Wednesdays are going to be more about things rather than craft. We're going to stick to craft and how-to things on Fridays. Wednesdays are about the stuff we might find on forums. First I'm going to do is address a couple of quick comments that I've had on the last one, which was the We See one, and this is the first one. I'll put the comments up here so we can read them together. This is from Thomas. But it's redundant, though. The fact that you've written it means we see it. Then Thomas's example, through the window they hug. Done. Well, Thomas, that's pretty cool. You think it's redundant? That's all right as well. That is part of the award-winning screenplay for The Holdovers by David Hemmingson. He sold it, he wrote it, it's really good, it's up for a nomination, it's a nominated script. You have found a way of writing that sentence, but also in your sentence, that could be, very unlikely, misconstrued as that through the window they hug. It doesn't actually give you the shot, which is what David's one does. Through the window we see it. We see them hugging out there. It's a very specific use of those terms. And as we said last time, you don't use it all the time. You use it very, very sparingly. And he chose to use it there. But thanks for the comments, Tom. Thank you for the comment, Thomas. That's really good. The other comment I want to talk about, I'll put it up on the screen now, and I'll have to break this one down into several components when we talk about it, was by Doug Ray Phillips. And this is how it reads. How about if you address the actual issue instead of nibbling around the edges? I'm not sure what that means. The actual issue is that the doctrine, when you're an outsider trying to break in and writing a submission/spec script, you avoid anything that smacks of camera direction because you're crossing into lines of another union and doing stuff that's not your job. Just tell the story. Your script, if purchased, is going to be torn apart and rebuilt anyway. But if you're already in the industry and are hired for a specific job by a director who trusts you, you may be expected to write a shooting script. In which case, you write in production details, scenes instead of a master scene, and put in scene numbers, and do include camera direction. Is that doctrine true or not true? Good question, Doug. I'm going to start off by saying it's not true. And I'm going to break it into its elements to explain to you why it's not true, or how I believe it is not true. When you're trying to break in. I'll attack the part where it says your script is torn apart. David S. Goyer does a fantastic lecture series for BAFTA. And search for it. I'll put a link below. But you can hear it as a podcast. You can see it as a video. So I'll put the link. And at 25 minutes and 41 seconds, I'll put it up here, the transcript. He talks about the film Blade. 25 minutes, 41 seconds. The character walks into the room looking like a living nightmare. And the director said to him, "What the is that?" The audience laughs. David goes on to point out that had got through many hands. So the idea that your script is pulled apart and rebuilt and reshaped and all that sort of stuff, this script had gone through many, many hands and actually got to the director with a pointless line. David goes on to say that was cheating, and he doesn't cheat anymore. He wants to make sure that directors feel they're in safe hands. So he puts in camera direction to make sure that they understand that he's thought it through. He's not going to say something stupid like the character walks in like a living nightmare, which means nothing and really can't be shot. So the link below, and that's at 25 minutes, 41 seconds. But if we go back to the start of Doug's comments, so when you're trying to break in, so the way I looked at that, the way we could analyse that, is to look at people that were breaking in. So their first sale. And let's look what's in their scripts. See if there is camera direction. See if there is the we see, we hear, we look, those sorts of things. So I thought I'd just grab some fairly famous first screenplays. I'm going to put this one up. Interior warehouse day. The camera does a 360 around an empty warehouse. Then doors swing open. Mr. White carries in the bloody body of Mr. Orange. Mr. Orange still moaning loudly from his bullet hit. Mr. lays him down upon a mattress on the floor. Another one from the same film. Mr. Pink hauls ass down a busy city sidewalk. He has a canvas bag over his shoulder, a strap in one hand, and a .357 Magnum in the other. If any bystander gets in his way, he's going to just knock him down. We dolly, a dolly shot, at the same speed, right alongside. 4 policemen running after Mr. Pink. We dolly beside them. We dolly with a woman on roller skates. Roller girl is plugged into her headphones, and we can keep going. Okay, we all know who that is. Mr. Pink, Mr. White. That's Reservoir Dogs. And we could sort of say, well, it's Quentin Tarantino. He was going to direct this. He'd written one movie before that, and rumour has it was like 500 pages. It was unwieldy. It was insane. So he's gone to them with this script. He's gone to, I think it was Miramax. So it would have been Harvey Weinstein and Bob Weinstein for the money. And they would have just said, look, we'll buy it and get someone else to direct it. It wasn't so, what got him that director's gig is that this was so well written with the dolly shots and the 360s and the we sees in his script that he sold to them. This was his first screenplay. This wasn't after his career. This isn't, Inglourious Bastards. This wasn't Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This is A Hateful Eight. This is his first screenplay that he's going to direct himself, and he was only allowed to direct it because it was very, very good. If it had been mediocre and hadn't needed to be pulled apart and rebuilt and all that sort of stuff, he wouldn't have been allowed to direct it. They would have maybe bought it and given it to somebody else. Let's look at the next film. Various point of view shots of truck drivers seeing Thelma and Louise wind their way towards the restaurant. So various point of view shots. So we're calling out all the shots from the truck drivers. Interior, truck stop, tight shot on a waitress's hands. So we're calling out a tight shot. Right? In the scene heading, which is even more outrageous. A tight shot on a waitress's hands, 4 a.m. Slamming dirty cup of coffee on the counter into a bus tray beneath the counter. Reveal, Thelma and Louise. So a reveal shot. So it's going to pull up and we're going to reveal them. But we've got a tight shot of the coffee. We've got some point of view shots outside. Next one. Interior police station, interrogation room, day. Tight shot on an identikit likeness of Louise. So we have a tight shot. Then we have the same waitress. Let's look in. This is Kelly Curry's Thelma and Louise. This was the first script she sold. So this is her breaking in with Thelma and Louise. It was all done on the page. There wasn't, it was her first script. She had to take it out. And by her fourth script, she was allowed to add it in. Her first script. Another one. There's a few of these. Right? We see Steve looking back. We see at Juno and a brief second of mixed feelings. Another down below, we see Juno's voiceover. We see Leah at the far end of the hallway talking animatedly. So this is Diablo Cody. Yep, she was a very famous blogger and people saw her blog and gave her a chance. And she was a very talented writer, and that's the thing. She was a huge amount of writing skill on display. So she could put what she wanted. That was her first sale, was Juno. The next one. There's a big speech, inside each of you is a very core of being, is a winner waiting to be awakened, blah, blah, blah. Big smile on Richard's face. A reverse angle. There's only 20 students in the classroom that would seat 200. They clap half-heartedly. And then there's an awkward moment when everyone gathers their stuff, their chair scrape. But a reverse angle. We're knowing that the camera's in behind Richard. He's just done his big speech. We look at an empty hall. An empty lecture theatre, right? Next one. Interior rec room day. We track with Olive. So it's a bit like the dolly shop, but we're tracking in behind. We track Olive as she runs down a half flight of stairs and races around, picking up clothes and shoes that are scattered about. That's Little Miss Sunshine, right? Michael Arnott's first screenplay that he sold. We see tracking shots, the we sees. Again, first-time directors. So this is sort of, for me, proof that it's not going to be stepping on a union. And really think of what a union is there. A union is there for collective bargaining, to protect the rights of its workers. You writing down what you think an angle should be in your story to best tell your story is not really going to affect what the cameraman does. It's not going to impinge on his rights. It's not lowering his ability to earn a living. Even if you wrote down every single shot and the director turned around and said, film that, he's still getting paid. His rights aren't being impinged. The union's not going to step in and say, no, he has to come up with those shots. Or even the cinematographer, I don't know what union they're in. But the director might come up with all the shots. And the cinematographer just implements them. Or you might have the cinematographer who works with Martin Scorsese, who suggested that dolly out and zoom in at the same time in Goodfellas. So Robert De Niro and Ray Liotta stay the same size, but more of the background comes into focus, and we change the depth of field to show that Ray Liotta knows that Robert De Niro is betraying him. That shot was suggested to the director, but the director might call all the shots. Or you might have Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder made that. He put the camera on his own shoulder and just got in there and filmed it all himself. So you're not really impinging on the rights of people by just calling out what you think is needed for the story. Here's another one. Close on a monitor. Images of stunning violence looped. Soldiers in foreign uniforms, shoot civilians, a woman's necklace. And then, down the bottom, we pull back to reveal we are seeing one of the screens. That's out of Alex Garland's 28 Days Later, his first sale. So we're not really stepping on people's toes. We're not being told we can't do something to break in. We've got to step up with every possible tool known to man and add it to our screenplays to stand above the people who are going, oh no, I can't do that because someone on a forum said I can't use WeSee, or I can't dare put a camera angle in. You can do what is needed to be done to tell your story the direct way. As Goyer said, Blade, his first. Yeah, Blade was his first. I think he sold something and it was a terrible indie film and it doesn't matter. But he put everything he wanted into Blade. They said, make it for $6 million. Write us a $6 million screenplay. And he went back to them with everything he needed to tell Blade, and it cost him come in at $45 million. But guess what? The script was so good, they made it anyway. They had a budget of 6 or 8, they ended up spending 45. And Blade started a whole franchise. It redefined how you do superhero movies. That was R-rated, had a black leading actor. It was ultra-violent, gritty, realistic. Before that, we had very cartoonish sort of comic book heroes. This was the one that said, oh, you're allowed to make these for adults, are you? I hope that helped. I just wanted to pull the comments in, talking about directing on the page. Directors are adults. They're not going to be insulted. They're going to say, oh, that's what you thought. No, I don't think that's a good idea. I'm going to do this. Or you'll take it in a direction that I don't think the film is going in. I want to make it more gritty. I'm going to do this. I'm going to use vintage lenses. We're going to be all, washed out, and I'm going to just do wide angles, which would be a very Coen Brothers thing to do. Or we're going to do lots of tight shots to make it feel claustrophobic. Or they know what they're doing, but you're making a suggestion visually to tell a visual story. So I hope that sort of explained a lot of the stuff that had been raised by Doug in his, like, does the union step in? Are you stepping on someone's toes? Are you allowed to do it when you're more professional? Of course, when you're more professional, you'll be asked to do a shooting script, and you'll probably work hand in hand with the director for that. And you will put in things like, different changes, scene numbers, and scene numbers are really helpful to have a chat with people. So say scene 25, because you could have 5 things that happen in the same room. Those will be changes. And then there'll be considerations like, does that person really need to fall in a swimming pool? Because every time they fall in a swimming pool, we have to pull them out, do hair, wardrobe, makeup. We've got to reset. We've got to dry outside the swimming pool so there's no splashes. Can't we just have someone slap them or push them over in the garden? Do we have to have them fall in a pool? That sort of stuff. Can we film that inside at night rather than outside at night? Because outside at night, the moon's going to move. It's more expensive. Those are all the production rewrites that you do. And you will add in the occasional shot if it's very important. But you'll also put in things like the famous one in Ben-Hur. There's a line that goes, an 11-minute chariot race goes here. So they're different things. But make sure when you're breaking in, you're breaking with your very best shot. Thank you for everyone who's been commenting, like Doug and Tom. Thank you for the thumbs up, and thank you for people that have been helping out Matt Lamb. I'm going to put the link again below. Anything you can give Matt would be a huge help because, like I said, $30,000 worth of medical bills. He's at about $15,000 so far, but we're ticking up some money to get him back on his feet. There's the books. That's the one good book you want. Tools, Not Rules. T-shirts, all those sorts of things. And thank you for everyone who's been doing that. And until next time, guys, keep writing.